It's 8 o'clock, this is Sunrise. Our top stories: a failure to deal with so-called honour violence. More case. Hello, good morning, you're watching Sunrise. I'm Sarah Jane Mee. New figures that have been shared with Sky News suggest that police are failing victims of so-called honour crimes, with only 5% of the reported cases going ahead with prosecution. The Iranian and Kurdish women's rights organisation say that of the 5,000 cases reported to police, only 256 were sent on to the Crown Prosecution Service. Well, honour crimes occur within households, families or communities arising out of a perceived insult to honour. Sky's Charlotte Lomas has more details. In other news today, Donald Trump is on the Korean Peninsula as part of his Asian tour. The entire region is going to be waiting to see whether the provocative approach he's taken so far towards the threat of the North continues. Well, we can go now to Seoul. Our Asia correspondent Katie Stallard is there ahead of that news conference by President Trump, and we understand that he's running around an hour behind or so at the moment, Katie, when he eventually does speak to people there. What do you think he's going to say? Jonathan is here now with the latest on that investigation into the shooting at a Texas church. Hello, Jonathan.
Yeah, much more information and detail coming out.
Huh?
Oh, Sarah Jane, memory.
Imagine if you were doing both, drinking and not sleeping.
Be all over the place. A bit worrying, isn't it?
Yeah, very worrying. Thanks, Jonathan. I'm going to take a look at the front pages of today's news. New research has highlighted the need to recruit staff from outside the UK in order to meet increasing pressure on services over the next 3 years. The NHS Providers Report found a workforce gap is harming the quality of care, while Brexit is seen as the main barrier to recruitment outside the UK. Well, Juan Lamplana is an NHS nurse and joins me now live from central London. Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning.
Do the findings of this report out today ring true with your experiences within the NHS of staffing levels?
Yeah, it rings totally true, and it reflects the reality that...
We keep hearing about a number of nurses, for example, this is your particular area of expertise, a number of nurses leaving the NHS service to go back to other countries in the EU because they are concerned about their future and whether they'll be able to stay on and work. What are your own personal concerns?
Well, my own personal concerns is I listened to Mrs May say...
Passion and urgency about this. You mentioned that you've worked in the NHS for 17 years, which is commendable service. We have to thank you for that. But you describe a lot of the problems there, the uncertainty over Brexit, the staffing levels, the huge amount of work and pressure you're under.
Yeah.
What makes you want to stay?
Because I love my work and I love making a difference.
Hello, it's 8:35. You're watching Sunrise here on Sky News. On the way, a look through Tuesday's. But first, a new study has found that sleep deprivation slows and impairs your judgments, much the same as being under the influence of alcohol. Scientists at UCLA have found that sleep deprivation disrupts brain cell communication, and it even turns parts of your brain off so that they can rest up, which they say causes temporary lapse in memory and vision, for example. Worrying. What effect is a lack of sleep having on the body, and how do we combat it? Well, let's find out more with the sleep. Hey, Doctor, this has been of huge interest to everybody that works on the Sunrise team and everyone watching at home that got up early this morning, whether it be with young babies or for work. Sleep, a lack of it, is the same as being under the influence of alcohol.
Sleep is so important for our health. There's a huge amount of intelligence that goes. I mean, there's
as seriously as being under the influence of alcohol. For example, I'm thinking about driving. We've all seen the signs over motorways that say, don't drive whilst sleepy, because obviously people think you'll fall asleep behind the wheel. But there are other implications, as in slower response times, lack of concentration. So do we need to take it more seriously?
The implications are very serious, and there have been, you know,
deprive themselves of sleep without good reason. I'm thinking, for example, of a lot of young mums, good morning to you out there, who have been up since the early hours with their baby, and they will look at their day ahead and go, where on earth am I going to catch up on my sleep? Can you bank sleep? Are there certain points in the day where you it's
Napping is
recommended
great.
that,
Yeah.
that you should catch up.
Well, I think having a nap in the afternoon and again...
Or how do you maximise the quality of the sleep you
Well,
are getting?
you're asking me to summarise, you know, over 2.5 decades worth of my work.
If you can,
But,
in 30
yeah,
seconds,
okay,
please.
good, let's go for it. But just in a nutshell, I would say...
It's 6 p.m. last night. I was so
Brilliant.
tired.
I mean, look, that's why you look so amazing. But that sleep before midnight is really important. So that
Always fascinating to talk about sleep. We are obsessed with it here on Sunrise. Thank you very much. Now, in other news today, new figures that have been shared with Sky News suggest that police are failing victims of so-called honour crimes. Only 5% of cases that are reported to police actually go ahead to the prosecution stage. The Iranian and Kurdish women's rights organisation say that of the 5,000 cases reported to police, only 256 were sent to the Crown Prosecution Service. Well, honour crimes are crimes that have occurred within households, families or communities arising out of a perceived insult to honour. Sky's Charlotte Lomas has more details. And we're more on that story throughout the day here on Sky News. In the meantime, we're going to take a look through Tuesday's newspapers in the company of what a 10 days it's been for the government, Michelle. The latest episodes, I suppose you could call them today, are gaffes made by the Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson. But you're concentrating on a gaffe that was made by Priti Patel over the summer while on holiday in Israel.
Yeah, I mean, God only knows why you would want to spend your family holiday doing work meetings if you could possibly avoid it. I'd try and do the opposite. If I was on a family holiday, I'd be doing my absolute best to not do any work. But anyway, Priti Patel has done the opposite. She's been on it's not following the process that she should be following. Now, I reckon Theresa May must be waking up in the morning at the moment, I quit. Because literally every day there seems to be something that is going on. If it's
official protocol, this happened in the summer, it's only coming out now. Sam, you're concentrating on Boris Johnson's gaffe. This is on the front page of the Times.
Well, people, fans of Boris, say, oh, it's great that he's kind of outspoken, he doesn't play by the rules, he's a bit cavalier, people find that engaging. And yeah, that's all very well, and politicians can be boring, and he's certainly not boring, but what he's found out is that sometimes if you shoot your mouth off, it can have devastating consequences, especially if you're in a position now extend her sentence possibly by a further 5 years. Now, if you're a Brit banged up abroad and you are... I sometimes think about Boris Johnson, he wants to be sacked. You know, sometimes you get football managers and you know they want a sacking because they want a payoff. Now, he doesn't get a payoff, I don't, as I understand it. But he does so many things.
National Trade Secretary, and he implied that it was perhaps a campaign against the Foreign Secretary.
I mean, the facts are the facts. If he said what he said in front of the Foreign Affairs Select Committee, and the Iranians have responded by specifically...
This is an NHS app that is apparently cherry-picking patients.
Yeah, I don't know why it's getting so much stick, right? So the thing is, the way that we operate is evolving with technology, and that is pretty much hitting every single sector. And the NHS is right to be thinking about how can we use technology, how can we... Oh, so what they say, yeah, so what people are saying, what critics of this are saying is that actually this is only going to be used by, for example, the young technology-savvy people, so it's unfair. But then what I would say is if the young savvy people are using the online technology, actually it would free up the...
minor problem on your phone, which
Yeah.
I think it's smart.
Let us know what you think. Tweet me at Sky Sarah Jane or drop us an email this morning, news@sky.com. We're going to take a quick break and we'll have more stories from inside today's papers after that. Michelle and Sam, continuing our look through the papers. Jackie's here for the sports news as well. And you've probably already had your breakfast because it's coming up for 9 o'clock. What a shame, because we have got some fantastic ideas for you, Michelle, in the Express as to what could be on the menu in the future, including Aztec pigweed.
Yeah, whatever that is, who only knows. But apparently 4 basic crops, wheat, maize, rice, soya beans are the source...
Up for some.
Are you? Yes, well...
Lovely.
Yes, well, you watch this space because you might be eating
But all
them
these
yet.
other things, I mean, King...
Oh, Michelle.
I know,
Get
and
with
so
it.
yesterday.
Forgotten foods are making a comeback. Nursery rhymes are making a comeback as well, Sam. They're being updated.
Yeah, The Sun have updated them for us. I love it when The Sun sub-editors do rewrite lyrics. It's one of my favourite things.
I love this one.
They're great. And
Hang on, Jackie, duck down a bit so we can read it.
Kids now are playing on apps, which is great in some ways if they're educational ones, but what they're not doing is singing nursery rhymes, and that's a shame because educational experts say nursery rhymes are extremely good for the mind and good for educational tools. So the Sun have done us the service of rewriting some classics to make them more contemporary.
What's your favourite?
Probably the one about Kim Jong-un, which says, I'm a little despot, short and stout. I fly off the handle and threats I spout. When I get all steamed up, I just shout, I'm Kim Jong-un and I'll take you all out. Very good. I'm all for the return of all of your favourite, not least Jesus Christ Superstar and My Friend Billy.
Oh, my word, right. Can you read
Deliver
that
the whole
nursery
thing
rhyme?
in
Deliver
rhyme.
that. Sam, Michelle, it's been good fun this morning. Thank you very much. Jackie, sport is on the way.
You know, we had all those questions and I had no answers.
Yeah, have you got any
I've got one, and Sam will really like it because I know he's a West Ham fan. Some breaking news in the last few minutes. David Moyes has been confirmed as West Ham's new manager.